What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be the support console tier list for the Paladins Scanlock / mid-season update. So, lot to talk about. I'm going to tell you guys right now, support and tank right now are probably the two roles in the game that have the most changes. So there's a lot to talk about and a lot to go over. Before I do get into this though, if you missed my first two videos, I did a flank tier list and a damage tier list that I just put out over the last 4 days. If you guys want to watch all the videos up to date up until this one, I will link a playlist at the end of this video, so you guys can go check those videos out as well. That'd be really cool. As well as I also have a tank tier list that will also be releasing here probably in the next couple days as well after this video goes up. So if you want to stay tuned for that, before I can get into this, let's see if we can get this video to 25 likes within the first 2 to 3 days. That'd be absolutely insane. We did it for all the other tier list videos. We did it within like about 2.5 days to like a day. So let's see if we can do it with the support tier list. I'll keep bringing you guys these tier list videos every new Paladins update, along with a bunch of other stuff. Lots of stuff planned on the channel. Not just tier list, a bunch of other stuff coming up as well. So if you do not want to miss it, subscribe down below. It's 100% free, and make sure you don't miss any of my videos. And I also do live stream Paladins pretty much at least like 3 to 4 times a week, usually in the evenings. So if you guys want to stop by for some Paladins, usually streaming some ranked or some viewer games. So if you're interested in that and that interests you, feel free to subscribe. I really would appreciate that. Same format as all the other videos. If you guys missed those videos, like I said, you can check them out. There's a playlist. I made an entire playlist, which I'll link at the end of the video, or they're live on the channel right now. This is a console tier list. Read the description down below, kind of some major changes for this patch and kind of just overall gist of what we got going on right now. Same format as the last 3 videos. SS is going to be stuff that you're going to be banning or picking in pretty much all your games. S is your stuff that you're going to be picking and prioritizing in all of your games. A plus is above average, A is average, B is more situational, C is even more situational, D only has like one maybe specific use, and then you got F, which is emoji tier, which we probably won't be using this video. It's just a little bit of a spoiler. And hop right into this. Keep in mind it's a console tier list. It is not a PC tier list, so if you are a PC player, it may be a bit different. This list is also 100% opinionated, meaning if you do not agree with me on something and I forget to explain something, or if there's something I don't explain enough in depth, let me know in the comments down below, or let me know your own list too. That'd be really cool. It's 100% opinionated. We're going to get right into this. Now, this pretty much what this patch has. We have a brand new healer in the game, but she's not going to be released into ranked. And then keep in mind for this list as well, this list goes from like your high tier, mid tier, high tier silver games, all the way up to your mid tier diamond, like high tier diamond games. It is not for pro play, it's not for masters, it's not for grandmasters, just your general average ranked games, where the majority of the players are going to be playing, which is your high silver all the way up to like mid diamond. Usually that's where the majority of the players from the player base fall into, so that's kind of what it's going to be for. As I was saying with Ray, we got a brand new support champion in the game. She is not going to be in ranked for another, I think, 2.5, 3 months. The next Paladins patch, which is going to be probably not really even that big of a patch. I don't think they really have much planned for it anyway, as apart from mainly, I think, a new champion. Apart from that, I don't think we're really going to have that much. Maybe an event pass. I'm not sure yet. So, but that's when she will be getting dropped into ranked. I'm not going to discuss Ray too much in depth in this video, because I'm going to make an entire video discussing how she currently is and kind of what the problem is with her right now. But just like a simple explanation, like if I were to rank Ray right now, I would probably put her like B tier. I don't think she's good at all. I don't. I think she's really bad. Like as a healer, she is really bad. Like, I'm talking mainly as a solo healer, too. Like, with double support, she can maybe work, because you always have somebody to play off of. And that's kind of what you're going to be doing the majority of the time anyways, if you're playing double support. Like, as I said, like, I'm going to make an entire video. I still have to make a guide video, which I'll probably end up doing this weekend as well. So if you guys want to stick around for an entire Ray guide, I do have her level 20 now. I'm going to play her a little bit more over the next couple days. And then I'm going to throw together an entire Ray guide going over loadouts and stuff for her in a video, probably going up later this weekend. So if you guys want to stay tuned for that as well, and if you're new, subscribe for that if that interests you. But like, apart from the guide as well, like, I'm gonna make an entire separate video of why she's probably the weakest champion we've ever got released on, like, a release patch. Like, I don't think there's ever been a weaker champion released than there was, like, for Ray. Like, she feels really bad to play. Like, her character, like, her design is probably one of the coolest designs in the game. They knocked it out of the park. Like, they went all full force. Like, they landed the nail on the head with her design. She looks great. But as a champion, her kit feels really bad. She does bring something new to the game, which is a bounce heal. We don't have that in the game yet with pretty much anything else. So that is something new to the game for support. So I can put her really much lower for not really providing anything to the game. And she has a brand new ult, which isn't in the game either yet, which is pretty much a delayed full health heal that's pretty much guaranteed. That's kind of what it is. Like, I feel like her like, with Chronos 3, like, her healing numbers are just too low. Like, if this was last patch, I think the problem with Ray too, like, she was designed for last patch when Cauterize was 75%. Cauterize is 80% now. And they did not really change her numbers to reflect that. I think that's one of the reasons why she's kind of feeling bad too. It's not really that much of a reason because I still think she's weak apart from that. But, like, I think she was designed for a patch before she got released. Like, the patch previously, before the patch she got released. And she just didn't really get her numbers updated. Which is, I don't know why they have a PTS. Why have a PTS if you're going to let people test out the new champion and then make no changes to the new champion after the PTS goes away and you bring everything to the live game? I have no clue. They made some little simple changes. Believe it or not, I actually think her bounce heal, I think, was previously on a 5-second cooldown. And they actually changed it to a 4-second cooldown out of PTS. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what it was. She felt garbage in PTS from what I heard. I did not play PTS. From what I heard and what I've seen, she was really bad. Like, I think the problem with Ray too, like, she for some reason, she's supposed to be a support. She plays better as a damage champion type, like, support hybrid than she does actually as a support. I think I've had better games trying to just play her like a full out, like, damage champion than actually trying to support a full team as a solo healer, and even as, like, a duo support, like a second support on a team. Like, I think she's way better as, like, a damage champion than actually as a support right now, which is not good. That is not good. She is supposed to be a support first, and then that's when you can experiment with her, and then you can make her into a damage or whatever. Her being a damage over a support is not good. And this goes to show you how badly balanced and how bad she really is right now. I'm not going to talk about her anymore, but you guys, if there's some stuff I didn't discuss or whatever you guys think about Ray, let me know what you guys think about Ray in the comments down below. Because I'm going to put together an entire video talking about her in depth, what they need to change, like, pretty much going over her entire kit, which I'll be doing in the guide video anyways. But pretty much how she's probably the weakest champion ever released to date, and what she really needs to be brought in line with a lot of the other supports. Because if they would release her right now into ranked, she's a B tier. She can barely keep 2 tanks sustained. And that's with Cauterize 2. With Cauterize 3 on the board and with, like, the enemy team, at least 3 people on the enemy team, with Cauterize 3, the only health you really heal back is from your ult. Like, you can't even keep 2 tanks sustained. Let alone stuff like Rom, Yagharith, like the bulky tanks that really need a shit ton of heals right now, and Nara, stuff like that. She is not good. I think she's really bad as a solo support, and the only way you can really get away with playing her, at least if I would dump her into ranked right now, which she's not ranked, this is kind of a prediction of where I'd put her, but I'd put her definitely in, like, a B tier. as like a solo support. You have to have a dual. Yeah, it has to be a double support. Otherwise, you just won't have enough heals. It's that bad. Even with Chronos 3, like, it's really bad. Not to mention her loadout cards. She has okay loadout cards, but the values are so minimal that it really doesn't do much to help her. I think like the max CDR you can get from one of her loadout cards, I think is like 0.5 of a second or something. It's so minimal to the point where it really doesn't do much for her. That's another problem, which I'll talk about probably in a different video, but I'm done talking about her. Let me know what you guys think about her in the comments down below. Where would you put her if she was released right now into ranked and she was plucked from the casual queue and just dropped right into ranked on release? She's not there right now, but at least if I were to put her there, I'd put her at a B tier. She's not really that good at all. Probably the weakest support champion we've ever had released on release patch, which is really unfortunate because I think she can be fun. I do enjoy playing her. And I do love her character, but it's just really unfortunate. It really is. Apart from that, we got, who do we got next? Corvus. Corvus right now, guys. Corvus right now is the definition of a average. Definition of an average support. He does everything really, really well, but he's just, there's just better options for supports in the game right now. He has a really good ult. He does really solid damage for a support. He has really good heals. You can actually run him really well in like a double support too. I think Dark Gifts is really underrated. Really underrated talent. It has a lot of like hidden potential, especially with certain team comps. It is really solid. Like you can keep a team fully sustained with your dual mark talent. You give people lifesteal as utility, lifesteal, movement speed, small shields. So he does have utility through loadout cards. So he does technically have utility for a support, which is what you really want. He has some of it. He's not as much as like a lot of the other supports in the game, but he's not like useless for like utility-wise, if that's what you're looking for out of a support. Like I said, solid ult, really charges fast, it really does. Really fast charging ult. Solid heals. He feels really solid right now, but he's just average. I'm not going to move him above an A because I just think there's so many better options right now in the game for like a healer. Corvus right now is probably the definition of average, along with maybe one or two other supports right now that are just kind of extremely average and kind of just there. So, not bad, not good. He has really good mobility too. If you want something that has really solid mobility with movement ability, throwing the dagger and teleporting, you can get to high ground, you can get away from stuff that's diving you pretty easily. He is a relatively safe support, and that's kind of what you want, which is always really good. So, overall, pretty solid. Just an A tier right now. Nothing special, not bad, not good. A tier for Corvus right now. Could use some buffs, but I wouldn't really even know where to start, at least for buffing him. I think he's just solid right now. Next, we got Fiora. Fiora right now is really good. She got some reworks. Solar Blessing got reworked. It does a little bit less healing right now. A little bit less healing than you really wanted it to, but it's way more consistent, so that really makes up for it. Like before with the old Solar Blessing, you were lucky if people just actually caught your beams, and you were actually able to land your beams on people. Right now, you can stop. They reworked it so you can stop it wherever you want. As long as you stop your beam, you're going to get value out of it. And if you can stop it close to people, even relatively close, they can play around the beam, and it's so much more consistent. It is such a huge change for Fiora. It really is. Not to mention they reworked one of her loadout cards, which was Lightforge. It got reworked into pretty much useless card, which is unfortunate because otherwise there would be way too much beam spam, unfortunately. But you just have to change your loadout cards, and you can kind of just switch like one of your loadout cards to something else. It's not that big of a problem. She's still really good. I think if like the top tier like healers in the game right now are picked or banned, you're going to be looking at Fiora because she's just that good. Really consistent, great ult, really good damage. She also plays really well with a lot of the tanks that are being played right now. You pick her with a Rom, you pick her with a Yagruth, you pick her with like a Khan, Barrack combo. Fernando, she plays great with. She pairs really well with a lot of the tanks being played right now. She really does. Just the one thing you gotta stay away from is Exterminate. If you pick Exterminate in your ranked games, you're throwing. Do not pick Exterminate in your ranked games. It is worthless. It is worthless. All you're doing is throwing. You are throwing. If you want to pick a DPS, why don't you just pick a DPS? Why do you need to play Fiora and just do damage and never heal anybody? Don't pick Exterminate in your ranked games. You are throwing. You will get reported for throwing. If you want to lose, pick Exterminate. Like that's thing too, like Cherish is still really good too, like on your long lines of sight map. Fish Market, Stone Keep, Split Stone. Like there's a lot of maps with a lot of long range of sights. Cherish is still really good too. So she has 2 viable talents. I'd say Exterminate to throw talent. Needs to be deleted from the game. Just promotes people throwing. That's all the talent does. But Solar Blessing is great. Cherish is still really good on certain maps. Overall, Fiora right now, definitely an S tier. Really good. Moving on, we got Grok. Grok he got a bit of a nerf. He really did. He got nerfed a little bit for this patch. I don't think he's worth a ban anymore. He's not worth a must pick, and he's not worth a must ban. I'm going to put him at an A+. I actually think Fiora is better than him now. I really do. Like, if you're talking like a healer on like a double healer comp, then I'd say maybe Grok's better. But as like a solo healer, I'd rather have a Fiora on my team than a Grok right now, if I'm being honest. I think I'm going to put him at an A+. He's above average. The patch before this, he was just way overtuned. They kind of brought him back a little bit. They nerfed him down a little bit to the point where he's actually manageable. And you actually can kill him now. So he's not like unkillable. He doesn't have Shadow walk up every like 2 seconds. So like, he's still going to be really annoying to go against. I just don't think he's like a must pick or like a must ban anymore like he was last patch. I think he's A+. He still does great heals. He does insane damage for a support. Crazy amounts of damage for a support. Really solid team fight all to get you in. Start a point push. Like, get you in, start fighting or whatever. Really solid. He does have good survivability as well still. He's still pretty relatively difficult to dive, especially if you have Shadow Walk still, and if he does not have that on cooldown. A+ still. Still really, really solid, above average. Got Grover. Grover is going to SS. Grover is one of the best healers, if not the best healer in the game right now. He is insane. It's really weird too because he actually got nerfed this patch. They actually nerfed, I think it was Deep Roots, so it does not bounce to a third person. It only bounces, I think, 1 or 2 people now, and doesn't chain beyond that. I think they nerfed like the distance where it would chain, or like they reduced the chain amount from that. Like, he's the best healer in the game right now. You pick Grover and you pluck him onto pretty much any team, and you're gonna have a shit ton of heals. His ult pretty much keeps you fully sustained. Like, it really does. Even with Cauterize 3, it's still really difficult to like punch through him because he just does so much heals during his ult. Not to mention, he got recently buffed like 2 patches back to where if you do die before your ult fully procs, you'll still save some of your ultimate charge. You won't automatically go down to 0. That was a huge buff for him. Like, he's just great. He is what you want out of a support right now. Healing-wise, like, utility-wise, you got a crippling axe in your base kit. Like, it's really, you have somewhat solid mobility with a vine if it actually works, if it's not bugged. It's still kind of buggy. Insane ult, you're charging ult so fast. Like, the only thing I would not recommend though is like running him as like a damage type solo. Like a solo healer Grover, you have to run Rampant Blooming. If you run him with Ferocity or like Deep Roots, you kind of don't have enough heals. I feel like you're a little bit lacking on the heals if you run a damage challenge. Sometimes you can get away with it if you have a really solid team, but I think the majority of the time, if you're gonna run him as a solo healer, you just run Rampant Blooming. I think it's so much better as a solo healer than like any of the damage challenges. But if you're like a second support and you're on a dual support team, so you have like a Genos, like a Fiora, like a Corvus on your team as well, then you can maybe get away with running Ferocity or like Deep Roots. But overall, insane. He needs to be nerfed in some way, and I think we're going to be seeing some huge nerfs for Grover this next patch. I think he has like the highest win rate of all the healers in the game right now as well, on console and on PC. So that's how good he's performing right now. So, insane. Really insane. Like, the only problem with him is you do get caught out a little bit, and you get dove relatively easy if you're not with your team. But as long as you're at least by one person the entire game, it's really difficult to die of you. It really is. Next, we got Io. Probably my favorite support in the game. I love Io. I really do. I really love Io. I know there's a lot of people as well that also love Io. I really like her. She's my favorite support in the game, and she's my favorite support to play. But I can't put her above an A. Like, right now, Corvus and Io are the definition of average supports right now in the game. They're not good. They're not bad. Meaning you can pretty much pick them onto most teams, and you can pick them on like most maps, and you're still going to do relatively well. They have really not many drawbacks, but they're still overshadowed by a certain number of healers in the game. So, like, I think she's relatively balanced too. Like, with this patch, she didn't get any buffs or any type of changes or nothing. Like, she got nothing with this patch for some reason. I don't know why. Like, the only thing about her that kind of feels like shit is that Luna kind of feels useless apart from having a stun on, like, what is it, every 30 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever it is. Like, Luna's the only thing about her kit that kind of feels bad because she just doesn't really do anything. If anything, she's kind of just there to body block damage from you and just throw out small amounts of damage and just kind of be there as like a bullet sponge. That's mainly what Luna's job is. That's usually what it is anyways. And then once in a while you'll get a good stun out of her, but apart from that, Luna kind of just feels kind of like trash right now. But apart from that, like, healing numbers wise, Io is great. She has really good healing numbers. Her ult is really bad though. Like, another thing about Io that needs to be reworked or like buffed is her ult. Her ult compared to a lot of the other supports in the game is really, really bad. It really is. You really just don't get much value out of it, and if you do, you're lucky to get like I don't know, use it for the damage immunity or like knock people off the point or get like some spare chip damage into like a combo ult or something. Like, I feel like the two things they need to look at Io with going into this next patch is her ult and look at Luna. I think if they want to buff her, then it needs to make Luna a little bit more relevant and make her a little bit more useful to her kit and make it so like she just doesn't feel like a bullet sponge with a 30-second cooldown on a stun every 30 seconds, and then look at her ult. Like, rework her ult or like buff her ult or something, like buff her ultimate charge rate or do something with her ult. I don't even know where you would begin with her ult. But overall, if you want a really solid healer though that's really consistent, I think Io is the one for you. She's really fun to play, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of other people still enjoy her. Like, she's great. Like, character-wise, I love Io too. Like, she's one of my favorite characters in the game. Ever since she's been released, like, she's one of my top 3 favorite characters in the game, like, alongside Maeve and maybe a few others. She's great. I love her. But, like, I can't put her above an A. She's probably the definition of average right now. There's just so many better supports in the game, unfortunately, which sucks. But hopefully they buff for this next patch, and we can get some more Io play. Not bad by any means, just a lot better options right now, unfortunately. Got Genos. Genos is going to A+ tier. He's good. Genos is good. As a solo healer, you can actually keep a team sustained now, guys. They reworked Luminary to the point where every time you heal somebody, anybody else that has a Celestial Touch mark on them, or a mark on them, will get a 250 health burst heal, even if you're not healing them directly, as long as they just have a mark on them. He can actually keep sustained, like, team sustained now by himself, guys. He actually has like solo healer potential, which is something he hasn't had in almost 2 years. Wow, mind-boggling. Gotta put him at an A+. He's not S-worthy. There's a couple maps where he's S-worthy, but as like a solo healer, not really. Like, as a double support comp, you can really pluck him onto one of those. He fits really well into like a double support comp, something like a Grover, a Fiora, a Grok. Like, any of the healers in the game, he fits really well with, so. Like, if I would just not run Binary Star. Like, if you run Binary Star as a solo healer, you just don't have enough heals. Especially with a lot of the bulky tanks being played, you're not going to pick him with a Yaghrith. Don't pick him with a ROM. Don't pick him with like these bulky tanks that need a shit ton of heals like an Inara. He can work with Fernando if he holds his shield up the entire game, but don't pick him with stuff like Yagruth, ROM, Inara, some other stuff that just like takes an insane amounts of heals. There's still way better options of like healing wise than him, but he's way better than last patch as a healer. Especially if you land your ults, you get tons of value out of your ults. It's crazy. Like, you can just land an ult. If you get at least like one kill per ult, like, you're getting extreme amounts of value. Not to mention, has like an off support as well, like a double support. Having the cripple as well on his power Coliseum, that's always a great talent to have. Especially versus like a hyper mobility team that has like a lot of shit that wants to run away or like dive you really fast. Just shutting that down with the cripple always really helps. A+ tier right now, really solid. Now up next we got Dambo. Dambo's really good right now, I really do, but I can't put him higher. The reason why I'm not going to put him higher is because this is console. You're always going to have the healers that are either auto-aim or just way easier to play and not having to have like a hit scan heal better on console. If this was PC, I'd probably put him like an S or maybe even like an SS because I know he's really good on PC right now. But this is console. The highest I'm going to put him is an A+. He does insane heals if you can aim. I think Ripened Gourd is probably his best talent if you want like an overall like full out healing talent for console. You pick Ripened Gourd. He pairs really well with like Yagruth. He pairs well with like majority of the tanks in the game. You just pluck him onto a team. That's what's really good with Dambo. You just pick him and you pluck him onto a team. And he puts in a ton of work. That's also a really good thing as well. Really good ult, like a team fight changing ult if you can get kills based off your ult alone. It's pretty much guaranteed 1 or 2 kills. It really is if your team follows up on it. It really is. But like, there's a lot of hidden potential with Dambo on console. There really is. But I can't put him higher just because he's a hit scan healer on a console where like auto healers and like way easier to heal type of healers are going to be king every time. So A+ can be really good if you can actually land your heals and land your gourds and know how to throw your gourds out in proper position. Relatively safe as well. Overall, I think he's really good. Really good, but he just comes down to if you can actually land your heals, your mending spirits, and get value out of your gourd and just play around your team. That's kind of what it comes down to. Overall, his healing's great though. He has really good heals, really good utility with an ult and even like stun in his kit. Really solid right now. I really like Dambo. Next we got Pip. Pip's going to D tier. Pip is garbage. Pip is trash. You cannot play him as a healer. You cannot play him as a damage. The only way you can maybe get away with playing him is as like an off support type hybrid damage. And even then, there is so many better options in the game for a blaster that it doesn't pay picking him. Why would I pick a Pip over a Dredge, a Drogos, even like a Willow sometimes? I have no clue. I really don't. Why would you ever do that? Apart from having your own self-sustain and having a really good team fight ult, you don't have much at all. You're a walking head hitbox that pretty much anybody looks at you and they shoot at you, they're going to be getting headshot damage and they're going to delete you in like 1 second because you're a walking head hitbox. Like, as a healer, combat medic is garbage. It's not consistent enough and you're just wasting your time. It takes too much effort to play and you just don't get enough value out of it to actually make it worth your while over picking any other healer in the game. And then Mega Potion, you don't get value. If your team's not grouped up, you don't get value out of it. That's the problem, because you're not going to be proccing your cooldown on your loadout cards if people aren't grouped up. So you're just going to be struggling as well. You'll only be able to heal one person to full, and then you have the rest of your team looking for a heal, and then you won't be able to heal them. So it's garbage. Like, the only thing I can see you really picking Pip for is, like I said, like as like maybe like a hybrid type damage, and then just picking him as like a self-healing type damage, and just running around based off your ult and just trying to get kills off your ult, because he still does have one of the best ults in the game. with his polymorph. Apart from that, I can't put him higher than D. He's garbage. He's at the point where he needs an entire rework. They just don't give a shit about Pip, and it's sad. It is really sad. Hopefully he also gets a skin soon too, because he hasn't got a skin in almost 3 years. That's another thing he needs. He needs an entire rework, and he needs a skin. Man, does Pip have issues right now. He really does. It's unfortunate because I really do like him as well. He is fun to play when you can make him work, but you're just throwing your ranked games if you pick him in ranked. Saris, going right to S tier. Saris is probably the second best healer in the game right now. If Saris is not picked or banned, you pick Saris. She is probably the best healer in the game right alongside Grover. She puts in way too much work. Her healing is insane. Even with the buffed Cauterize, it is insane. She can keep pretty much any tank in the game sustained with Mortal Reach. You don't even have to play risky. You can just sit way back by spawn and heal somebody, as long as you have line of sight. Like, they nerfed her Shadow Travel cards, and she's still really good because she's still, like, you can dive her and she'll run away, but she still has an insane amount of survivability. That really didn't hurt her that much. It made her a little bit easier to kill because it's not on like that short of a cooldown anymore, and I actually think I think they increased like the internal cooldown or whatever for one of her loadout cards. So she can't run away from you in Shadow Travel as easy or whatever. Like, 3 good talents. You can pick her and pluck her on pretty much any double support comp. Run Agony, you get stunned as utility. You could run, Soul Collector. You run around, you do insane amounts of damage, and you just become a really tanky, like, hybrid Healy support. You throw out ults. If you can get value out of your ults, you get 1 or 2 people every time you throw out an ult. They're pretty much guaranteed dead as long as your team follows up on them. Her ult charge is really fast too. She has an insane amount of good loadout cards even still. Like, she's just what you want right now. She is extremely easy to play, and she gets so much value right now by just playing Saris. She just does so much fucking heals, it's crazy. She's so annoying to go against, and even with Cauterize 3, it's so annoying to play into. You either ban Saris right now, or you pick Saris as a top 1 or 2 picks. If you don't want to deal with her, you waste a ban on her, and I think she's definitely ban worthy right now. She's just so annoying to play against, similar to Grover. I'd rather have a Saris ban over a Grover, if I'm being honest. I just don't like going against Saris at all. She needs to be nerfed again. They nerfed her once, and she's still just as good as she was last patch, even with Cauterize being buffed, and she needs to be nerfed again. Ban or pick every single game, no matter what rank you're in, no matter where you are. Easy to play at the lower tiers, and still really good in the higher, like your diamond games, mid-tier diamond, high-tier diamond games. Really good. Then we got, last but not least, we got Ying. I'm gonna put Ying in an S tier. I think Ying's really good. As a healer, Ying as a healer, keep that in mind, guys. As a healer, she is really good. Not a damage. Do not pick the not life exchange. That's her healing ability. Illusory Mirror, I think it's what it's called, or whatever that damage challenge is. And do not pick Renaissance. Do not pick Renaissance, and do not pick her damage talent, her other one that gives you bonus damage. You are throwing. As a solo healer, she's really good with life exchange. You got the 700 burst. You charge your ult really fast. You have okay mobility between, like, you're switching between your clones if you get dove. You have okay damage still. Like, the only way you run damaging is if you have a dedicated main support and you're the second support on a team. That's the only way you can run like a damaging. Do not run damaging if you are a solo support. You will not have enough damage, and you will lose, and it'll make your team really difficult to actually win the game. And if you do win, it's made way more difficult trying to win when you could have a really easy game. Apart from that, she has a great ult too. Like, her ult's insanely good. Even with Cauterize 3, it's pretty much also impossible to kill you during an ult. Like, you just run up on people. As long as you have a Ying ult procced on you and you have it stacking and still going, you win pretty much every 1v1. It makes your team be really aggressive. She plays really well with a lot of the tanks being played right now. I wouldn't really pick her with like a Yaghrith or stuff that really needs like an insane amount of heals. That's why you have Grover, Saris, and Fiora. But she can keep those up if you play really well. You can pick that alongside the super tanks that need like a shit ton of constant heals. But overall, right now, I think she's S tier. She's probably like the second, probably the stuff you're going to prioritize. If Saris and Grover's banned or picked, and you're going to looking for healers, you're going to be looking at Fiora and you're going to be looking at Ying. As a healer, not as a damage. You're going to be looking at Fiora and Ying as a healer, not Exterminate Fiora and not Life or not Renaissance or Illusory Mirror or whatever her damage, bonus damage talent is. You're going to look at them as a healer if Saris and Grover are banned. There you go. Apart from that, there's not really much to put on here. I could put Skye on here because technically she can heal, but she's not really considered a support, and it's more of just like a hybrid type flank thing, so I don't think it's really worth putting Skye on this tier list. But here's the support tier list, guys. SS going to be the stuff you're picking or banning every single game. I do think Grover and Saris are worthwhile a ban right now in like almost all your games, especially Saris. She's insanely annoying to play against. She really is. And then you're looking at Fiora and Ying being your top picks. You got Grok, you got some middle tier picks, and you got your average Isle Corvus. I put Ray on the list, just where I'd put her in ranked right now. I'll be making an entire video discussing Ray as stuff goes on, and probably like end of this week or probably sometime beginning of next week. Just talking about her and how she needs to be buffed or reworked and what the problem is with her currently. So then you got Pip tier, where he's absolute garbage, just needs an entire rework and he needs an entire new skin because he's garbage and nobody ever plays him, and if you do play him, you're just trolling and you're throwing games. So here's the list, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If there's something I did not explain, or if there's something I did not clarify or talk about enough, let me know in the comments down below. I do respond to like all my comments, so that's, if you want to respond or if you want to put something in the comments, let me know, and tell everybody in the comments if you have your own list or anything like that. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video, really helps me out. And I will have the tank tier list up in the next couple days after you guys see this video, and after this video gets thrown up, I'll have that up in the next couple days. So if you do not want to miss that, subscribe. There should be a link to the playlist for all the other tier lists in case you missed them, the DPS and the flank tier list in that playlist. So if you guys want to check those out after this video, that'd be really cool. For the mid-season patch, I'll link that at the end of the video. Thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in a future video.